And the third difference is this one, you're gonna laugh about this one. And that one, this one right here, it shocked me when I heard it the first time. And is so you already read the title. On today's video, we are discussing, do Dominican women prefer Dominican men? Yeah, I can already hear you saying, yes, that is true. And with everything I believe is untrue to this statement. So let's get into it. And let's be honest, most people prefer date and marry into their own culture. And that is just proximity. We should agree on that. And the reason is because it is easier for people. That is something that you already know. You know how your own culture behave and act. So it's easy for most people to date and marry their own culture. That is not exclusive to Dominican culture. But that doesn't mean that you can have a serious relationship with a Dominican woman. Although I hear a lot of comments of people saying that Dominican women prefer Dominican men or always have a Dominican man on the side. And I also hear a lot of comments of people saying that we are nationalists, which is true. But that doesn't mean that Dominican women are not open to date outside of the culture. I have talked to Dominican women that have dated outside of the Dominican culture. And what I found out is that most of the time it's not because the partner is a foreigner. It is, or the guy is not a Dominican. Most of the time the problem is that I hear is about cultures difference. And culture difference can range anywhere from religion, language, lifestyle, day-to-day life, and political views. To be fair, I have no hair, the foreigner side, or in this case, the main side. I just have hair from some of the Dominican women. I know some of you will still disagree with what I'm saying right now, but if that was completely true, then I will not be married with an American man right now. So what are some of the cultural differences that I faced when we got into the relationship? Number one, the language barrier. That was very difficult at the beginning. I didn't speak any English. He speaks little Spanish. But we used Google Translator. We did a lot of hand and signal communication. And for almost a year, or for about a year, it was a very difficult, and especially because a lot of things got lost in translation. You know, when you are not able to communicate very well what you want to say, you just say one thing and everything is said over there because you can express yourself. So it was very difficult, but I started taking classes at night, English class at night, and I also watched all the TV. When I moved to the US, I started watching all the TV in English. So that improved my English. So if you are in a relationship with a foreigner, if you are not trying to learn that person's language, or that person is trying to learn your language, meaning both, it's gonna be difficult to maintain that relationship. And the second difference was family. To me, at the beginning, it was very weird that we had been dating for about a year and I didn't see his family. And he was very close to his mom, and they would talk to her over the phone all the time. But we was living in Huntsville, Alabama, and his family was in Mobile, Alabama, which is about 5 hours away. And he didn't travel too often. And me coming from a Dominican culture and that we are around our family all the time and being on top of each other all the time, I found that a little weird. And also, I didn't see my family in about 2 years because I was working on my paperwork, and after I was there working for about 2 years was when I was able to travel back and see my family. So I was feeling certain type of way because I didn't know how that was possible. But being around another culture and another country helped me to understand how other cultures are. And the third difference is this one, you're gonna laugh about this one. And this one right here, it shocked me when I heard it the first time. And is the 50-50 relationship, the split 50-50. Me, you probably, a lot of you already know how things work over here in Dominican Republic. I was not used to the 50-50, split the 50-50 in the relationship. But my husband expected that at the time. As a matter of fact, I never said anything about this, or that was something that was weird for me, or that I found it very, how you would say, not rude, but I found it something different, of course. but I never said anything. As a matter of fact, he's just hearing about that now. Thank God that he's not like that anymore. But how can I expect for him? One of the things that I thought, how can I expect for him to know how my culture was if he didn't know anything about my culture? Yeah, I didn't know anything about his culture. So that was, for me, that was a learning experience. But one thing, well, one day I will bring him to the channel. That way he can explain to you all why he did the 50-50%. But one thing that I can say is that he put me in a very good position in a company for me to make my own money, that I was able to spend even extra more than what I needed at the moment. So that was one of the reasons. But like I said, I will bring him to the channel. That way he can explain why he was expecting the 50-50. Even though those differences were new to me, that wasn't reason enough for me to break the relationship. Although some people are not willing or don't have the patience to endure certain differences. And that was back in 2008. When people have a little bit more patience, I can say that I don't think nowadays people have a lot of patience for a lot of things. So that's why also relationships are very difficult today's day. But on the flip side, here are some of the things that were new to me as American cultural differences that I gladly accepted. Here they are. Number one, my husband can cook, and he can cook very good. I noticed that in American culture, a lot of men cook. And that is something that they do for passion or because they like it, but that's something they do. In Dominican culture, most of the time, Dominican men do not cook. That is how the culture is, how they were raised. When we used to grow up, I used to cook for my both brothers until while my mom was working. And as a culture here, most of the time that's now, but before, men don't need to cook, clean, or anything like that. Those are just chores for women. But American culture are a little bit more open, and that is something that I like. So before it used to be more traditional. Like in my dad era, men used to take care of the finances of the household, and women used to take care of the house, the cleaning, the cooking, the kids. But now it's starting changing. My dad just knows how to make coffee. He don't know how to cook or clean or anything. But now it's starting changing, where I know my brother, he has his apartment, he knows how to clean his apartment, cook. So things have slightly changing in our culture as well. And the second one is him having an entrepreneurial spirit. And I don't know if that is an American culture, but that is something they see with a lot of people in the US, that they have business ideas where they develop the idea, different kind of ideas. And I remember back then, we have our favorite show was Short Time, that we both love. But that's something that he had, and I always seen in him. That is something remember, I'm talking about something that I experienced in 2007 when I moved there, the difference. That was something that I wasn't used to see here. The Dominican men have that entrepreneurial spirit, like have an idea, trying to develop a product or concept or a business. I wasn't used to do that, so I saw that in him. I did like that. But nowadays I see more the culture, and the Dominican men have more like business minded and more entrepreneurial spirit. But remember, I'm talking about something that I saw in 2007, where in the US with the technology and people have open mind, it was people to have ideas. Here probably was still being, over there was 2007, probably here was still 1999. It's still behind. With technology, people see what we're mixing. I think that's where some of the things that probably affect that having that mindset. And then third, and the last thing that I noticed is that American men in that moment was like less macho and jealousy. That is something, again, that I saw the difference when I got there. What I mean with that jealousy and macho, it is that what I saw on my experience back then was that it was more equal. Men and women have an opinion, an input, like to make the decision together. If that was something that I saw less over here, I saw it more over there, like it was more open. It was more common, let's say. So those were my experiences. So I'm gonna give you now some example of a relationship that I know with Dominican women and foreigner. And the relationship ended up not because they were foreigner or because they wanted to be with a Dominican man, but because of the cultural differences. The first example that I have is this a person the way she was started knowing a foreigner, and in this case it was American. But what happened is that what she told me is that every time that they used to talk, he always brought the conversation of his previous relationship and how bad they were. So he was always talking about the same thing. It was like he was frustrated. So that is something that we don't do. When we finish with a relationship, we don't take that to the next one and keep talking about it. So that's something that she felt that he had past trauma, and that was something that she didn't want to deal with. And the second example that I have, this one is a couple, a married couple, and she lived in the US, and they have 3 kids. But what I hear the difference is also cultural differences. It is how cold with the family is and with the kids that they have. And what I hear from her is that every time that she talks, is that she wishes that she was here in the Dominican Republic. But what it sounds to me is like, if I knew how different it was, probably I would have stayed in the Dominican Republic. It is something like that you hear when people talking how they feel about something that they already did. And that also is a cultural difference. I'm gonna go now to the third example. With the previous 2 examples, one was a Black American and the other one was a white American. And this one was with an European relationship. And why she didn't continue the relationship is because she said, and she used this warrior mindset that said, these cultures are different, and this person was she used the word crazy. And it was cultural thing because they didn't do the same thing. What he enjoyed to do, wasn't what she enjoyed to do. Like, for example, the guy used to smoke a lot marijuana. And it is something that we as a culture, we don't do here. We don't even smoke cigarette as a normal thing, and even less marijuana. And I'm talking about regular Dominican culture, because I know some people who say, yeah, I know people that do this, and that. I'm talking about regular Dominican. That is not something that we do. In this example, this lady was a tour guide. She enjoyed going out, traveling the country, meeting people. This guy enjoying smoke marijuana, being home, laughing, and eating fast food. So this relationship was not compatible. So that was the reason that she said, well, she couldn't continue the relationship. So as you can see, in some situations, culture can be the problem. And the female go back to what they are used to because it's easier for them. And that can go both ways. Sometimes it's the man where he's not willing to learn or adapt to cultural differences, and he go back to what he used to because it's easier for him too. I have personally met subscribers that are either in a relationship or married to a Dominican, and they both, or either the female doesn't speak any English or a little, and also the male, he speaks a little Spanish. And they have cultural differences, but they are willing to work in their relationship. And I know that I'm speaking about the female, but I believe that it goes both ways, that both should learn each other's culture for the relationship to work. So guys, this is what I have for right now. So leave a comment down below if you have faced any cultural differences dating a different culture that we all want to learn here. So that is what I have for right now. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and also share, and I will see you in my next one. Bye! So you already read the title. Today's video is, do Dominican women prefer Dominican men? Yeah, I can already hear you saying, yes, that is true. Well, although I hear a lot of comments of people saying that Dominican women always have a Dominican man, always have. To be fair, I have not heard the side of this foreigner, or in this particular case, the main side. Okay. And the third difference, and to me this one was very shocking when I heard the first time, you're all gonna laugh, and it was the 50-50, 50-50 what? Nowadays, people are not willing or don't have the patience to endure certain, all of it.
Why? You can't just jump in the middle of it like that. It's hard to edit that.
And the second is him having entrepreneurial. Okay. But like I say, I will bring him in the channel. That way he can explain.